Hello again. How is everyone doing? If anyone's out there, can you let me know how the audio's coming in? Michael 61341. How are you doing? How's the audio coming in for you? RR, how you doing? RR, were you also on the Lynette Zhang? I think I saw your handle there as well. Great, sounds good. Thank you, boys. Thank you. Thanks, boys. Boys, I don't think I recognize your name. If first time here, welcome aboard. Michael, also welcome aboard. Okay, so we'll be starting in a bit. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Rumpelstiltskin, how you doing? Gregory Todd, excuse me. I think it's first time I've seen your name as well. Anthony Phillips, first time I recognizing your name. Francisco, welcome aboard. Glad you guys could be here. Yeah, you watch TV. I don't think I've watched TV in a very long time. I mean, it seems that everything is on the internet nowadays, Netflix or YouTube. But again, glad you folks could be here, and I do hope everything is going well as we are fast getting into holiday season. RR, you're welcome. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there. A lot of them are all good. They keep the bar high, and I just do my best to keep up with them. So hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. This is our live stream, and I'm glad that you made it here. Hope everyone is doing well. So once again, if you are new to this channel or have not already done so, please do subscribe. Click on the bell to be notified on new updates, and do give us a thumbs up. If you like what we do, we appreciate your support. And as always, you can find us on social media. You can find our website at silverbullion.com.sg. We are in Singapore. Facebook, SilverBullionSG. Twitter, at SilverBullionPL. Once again, for private limited. The audio versions can be found on bit.ly/SBTV iTunes or SBTV Spotify. And join our Crisis Tracker group on Telegram. And you can do that by just opening up your Telegram app and searching Crisis Tracker, and go ahead and join. We'll be glad to have you. So once again, thank you all for being here. We appreciate that you all made it. Again, I know it's for a lot of you it's night. Here in Singapore, it's Monday morning, or here in Asia for that matter, it's Monday morning, and we're gonna dive into the news shortly. So Anthony Phillips, fanny pack. Okay, now I know. Anthony Phillips, I had the pleasure of meeting Anthony Phillips, and he's definitely a guy to look up to, not just in height and stature, but he's got some really good plans, and I wish him well with those plans for sure. DB Stupid, what's the topic tonight? You know what? I think I'm gonna take a look at a few things. One of them was this one of the last videos we posted up, which was about review sites that may not be that truthful, because that's important to you guys. That's important to you guys, whether you're trying to make a decision on what to do. It's important to, let's say, guys in Hong Kong who are trying to figure out what to do. And I don't think websites that do give reviews, they need to be on par. They need to be on par, and their game needs to be absolutely flawless, because your decisions are based on them. And I think we're going to take a look at crypto. Perth Mint came out with a gold back type of crypto deal, and then I think we're also going to take a look at what's been coming out of China, where they are also creating their own crypto, and they may have a role in the tumble of Bitcoin, the latest tumble in the Bitcoin price. So we'll take a look at a few things there. Rumpelstiltskin, CNN, agree. Timothy Mack, how you doing? Gabe M, how you doing? What's up, buddy? Okay, audio good, thanks. Frank, great. Giselle, great. Let's see. What's the news on the recent bank failures in China? Timothy Mack, you know what? I gotta admit, I have not had the chance to dig into that one, but I'm definitely going to be taking a good look in it at some point during the week. So I apologize for not having any good info for you on that right now. Okay, so straight away let's dive into the gold and silver price and let's see what's going on. They've been pretty not necessarily volatile, but they've been struggling to get back to those nice highs that we saw just a month or a month and a half ago or so. Silver, hang on, let me switch this over to USD. Okay, so again, we do take orders in different currencies. That should help a lot of people there, avoiding these conversion fees from banks. Silver 16.98, just under $17 an ounce. So I think we were at like 17.8, 9, 10 just last week. So Friday took a little bit of a stumble. Gold 14.61 an ounce. It's still trying to get up past that. I'm gonna say like 14.75. We see it getting there, and then it has a hard time trying to move forward. Nickel has come down somewhat. Um, has come down from the $18,000 price range earlier, just a few months ago. So we're gonna have to see what's going on with nickel. I'm Should we blame Tesla for trying to say he had bulletproof windows or whatever it was, and that thing just kind of fell apart on him on stage? But nonetheless, that was a pretty unique looking truck that he had there. So okay, so that's where we're at with silver and gold. We got to see what's going to go on with it this week. I mean, whether it pertains to repo markets or anything else, silver and gold, you know, still, no matter what the price, that is your insurance, and never forget that. And again, just disclaimer here: I'm not trying to give financial advice. These are just my personal opinions and comments. So no advice, no professional advice here. Um, okay, we got that clear, right? Okay. Uh, Gold open interest story. I gotta get on that as well. Jesse, I apologize. I've had a pretty busy week with some other things. Uh, okay, let's see. Cybertruck made out of stainless steel. Yeah, that was a pretty crazy event. Um, we're gonna we're gonna take a look at that maybe on the market update that's gonna come out later. But I want to get to one thing before we start. There was a video that we posted about this website called Bullion Reviews, and how they it muddies up the water when you don't give accurate reviews. Again, especially for you guys out there who are searching for places, and a lot of times we depend on reviews. And why it started to have more of an effect is because if you search our website on Google, let's say here, and you scroll down a bit, and you'll see like on Facebook we do fairly well. On Google reviews we do fairly well with review scores. But with this website, Boolean Reviews, it was, I mean, a huge discrepancy. One, you're pretty close to doing the best that you can possibly get, and the other, you're just barely above average. And so it, of course, it made us wonder a bit. And so if you go to that website, um, hang on, you'll see that there's a company up here, number one. This company here, number two, I used to work there, and I can tell you, to be number two in Singapore, no way, no way were we legitimately number two. And this review site has been out since about 2013, 2014, and you got to ask yourself, there's only 18 reviews. How can you have only 18 reviews in all those years, but be perceived to be the number two shop in Singapore? There's just no way. And you compare it with, say, like Silver Bullion, 77. That's a bit more on par. So, that was one thing right there. Hang on, let me just clear something up here. Okay, and so this is some. These are some of the shops in Singapore, not all the shops. And the problem with this review website was because when you look at some of these shops, let's say again Silver AG, where I was, buy gold and silver means people can buy it from us, people can sell it to us, and we did that. We had buy and sell, but for some reason this website would show that we did not. Um, Price charts, updated news and research that we had. We had a blog where we put news, research, had blog articles and whatnot. Again, they did not give us. Basically, this review website said that Silver AG did not have this type of a service, which was again incorrect. With silver bullion, it's obvious we have price charts. You guys have seen them time and time again. We do have updated news and research. We send out newsletters and things like that. And retail shop, it's we do have a retail shop. I guess it depends how you want to define it. But for those of you who have been to our shop, you definitely know we have a retail shop. So there are a few things that just wasn't correct with this website. Not to mention there are more shops in Singapore. There's a shop called Gold Hard Bullion. This website chose not to list it. There were other shops such as SK Bullion. I'm not sure if they were ever listed. And of course, the bank in Singapore, UOB, they're not listed, and they've been around for decades. So for some reason, this website chose not to include other shops. And again, this is important because if you're trying to base your decision on things like reviews, I tell you what, this is just not it's not a fair way to do it. And there's a lot more that can be said about this website, but I think what I'm going to do is save it for another day. The main thing is I need you guys to know that when it comes to review websites, you cannot put your full faith and or should not put your full faith and trust in them. And it's very hard when these things happen. And again, if you folks saw that video, what we eventually found out was this review website was, or sure looks to be, run by a competitor in Singapore, and that can be pretty dangerous because if you're gonna again base your decision on a review website and then you find out the review website is actually run by a particular company or shop in Singapore, it's you may not be getting the full information that you need. And I just pointed out to you a lot of things that were missing from it. So again, be careful when you look at review websites. We're gonna definitely get more into this at some point because again, it's important for you guys to know these things, especially if you're looking at storing overseas in Singapore, especially if you're in Hong Kong looking to move your things out of Hong Kong into a safer place. So these are things that we're gonna have to have to look at. Okay, let me jump into to what's on your mind. Just needed to get that clear with you folks. Let's see, gold and silver knocked down right out of the gate. It's down a bit, yes, for sure. Uh, Awoke. What's the future of silver in 2019? It goes beyond price. Silver, gold, they both go beyond price, and price definitely is one component. But again, I think most of us we understand, or we've come to understand that it's not just the price component, it's also the insurance, it's the store of wealth, those types of things. So when we look at the lower silver and gold price, one, of course we would like to see it doing better, but two, we will tend to go out and buy more because I think for a lot of you, if you're like me, when you see that silver and gold price starting to run away on the upside, you're kind of hoping it comes back down so you can buy more. So again, it's more, a lot more than just the price. Option expiries this week. Yeah, I heard there's a ton of them right now. We're gonna have to see what happens. It's I don't know if we're what record open interest again. Amazing. Michael Aotearoa, how you doing, Michael? Kia ora. Hope everything there is going okay. Something else came out in the news. I mean, a lot depends on what these guys from the Federal Reserve say. And we got Janet Yellen. She's coming out again. This is a fairly recent article, November 21, 2019, and she's saying there is good reason to worry. There's good reason to worry. We were no worry Janet just a few years back, right? But now it's time to worry Janet, or good reason to worry about the U.S. economy sliding into a recession. So former Fed Chair Janet Yellen said the economy is in excellent shape, but facing several risks. Uh, Again, there's it's always political type of speak here. One of the most prominent is in wealth disparities that she said are extremely disruptive. Yeah, there definitely is an income wealth gap here. In a downturn, the Fed would have little room to move due to low rates. She added, yeah, and this it when I see things like that, you got to go back to well, hey, you guys took it down to zero, and gave us pretty much no room, and now you're, I guess, just passing the hot potato to someone else. Anyway, Yellen also said tariffs on the U.S. has leveled on Chinese imports, aren't doing any good. Tariffs definitely have a role to play. So let's just take a quick peek at what she said. Pronounced wealth inequality that has built up for decades poses a major threat to a U.S. economy that is in otherwise excellent shape. The central bank leader from 2014 to 2018 said the U.S. China tariff war is having a detrimental impact on both businesses and consumers through higher prices and a general air of uncertainty. While she doesn't see a recession on the horizon, here we go. While she does not see a recession on the horizon, she also noted that the risks are piling up. How she does not see a recession on the horizon, I'm that is a mystery. I think 99.9% of us here can see a recession on the horizon. She goes on to say, I would bet that there would not be a recession in the coming year, but I would have to say that the odds of a recession are higher than normal and at a level that frankly I'm not comfortable with. Okay, so with three rate cuts this year, there remains not as much scope as I would like to see for the Fed to be able to respond to that. So there is good reason to worry. I'd say so as well. Definitely good reason to worry. Okay, where are you guys at? Let's see. Central banks have caused the wealth gap. RR, spot on, my friend. I completely agree with that, or at least they definitely had a role to play there. Bobby Jones, it's all manipulated. Just about all of us understand that as well. We know that when that central bank starts going into the market, things are not going to be what they should be, and things like price discovery gets completely distorted, and that is no longer a market that is based on the so-called free hand type of a deal. It's just not there anymore once the Fed steps in. I think even Japan, their ECB, they're already buying up equities. Um, a lot of people kind of think that the Fed, they may have to get to that point as well, if not there. But I don't think they are there yet. RR, no kidding. Yes, no kidding, Janet. I mean, she was supposed to be no worries, Janet, right? I mean, it's not going to happen in our lifetime, right? Anyway, then we have Fed Chair Jerome Powell is blind to these debt bubble warnings. Okay, so the former Fed chair doesn't see it, and now there's an article out where Jerome Powell is blind to the bubbles. What's going on? Last week, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, let me get the date for you guys if there is one. November 18th, so this is about a week old, so let's just say 2 weeks ago. Fed Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell testified before Congress. His theme terrifies me, says this author. The Fed boss says that he does not see any risks of asset bubbles. No risk. Why is that? Because they are going to be continued to be pumped up, I suppose. Is that why there's no risk to these asset bubbles? Anyway, I look back to tech bubble of 2000 and the crash of 2008, and nothing has changed. The Fed ignored bubbles then, and below are the bubbles it is ignoring now. Home prices. The latest reading from the S&P Core Logic Case Shiller Home Price Indices shows that its 20 city composite rose by 2% year over year in August, with Phoenix, Charlotte, and Tampa leading the way. This index peaked in July of 2006, then declined by 35.1% to a bottom set in March 2012 as the home price bubble popped. Since then, the bubble has reinflated by 62.7%. With the current reading 5.6% above the prior high, this could become a problem if the economy slows down in 2020. Janet Yellen is saying the same thing. Another issue, global development debt. Data from the International Institute of Finance reported last week that global debt rose by 7.5 trillion in the first half of 2019 to 250 trillion, led by the US and China. If central banks continue to print money through quantitative easing, or how about let's say the repo market, this bubble will continue to inflate until it has a catastrophic, uncontrollable burst. And we all know that money's been going in the repo markets, and at the same time, we've been seeing newer stock market highs. So there you go. That kind of confirms what this author is saying. 2 weeks ago, Fed Powell chief testified that he does not see signs that any bubbles were brewing and there are no dangers posed by trillions of dollars in deficits around the globe. I predicted the problems that occurred before the crash of 2008, and the debt bubble is significantly worse today. Some other items were household debt. I know we all know that one. We all got household debt. Uh, Total household debt balance. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Fed balance sheet. Well, we know what they're doing. That balance sheet is it's made of V, where it came down and it just made a retreat, going upward again, printing money. Here we go again, right? So let's see. Rumpelstiltskin. How long can the USA keep the forever wars going? Forever, I suppose. 8 trillion already wasted since 9/11, and the five dancing Israelis turned up in New York that day. Uh, Not quite sure what that part means, but a lot of money has been wasted. A lot, a lot. Let's see. Owen Benjamin Shapiro. As long as the rest of the world still thinks the dollar holds value, that is true. But we are seeing more and more how countries are de-dollarizing, and I'm going to take a quick peek into that again. Uh, RGJGJ, good evening. What's that video about bullion reviews? Yeah, basically what it is, again, it's a review website that it's not at all accurate. It's not at all fair to other companies as far as representing their services and whatnot. And the thing is, it kind of makes sense when if a lot of these services did not make. Let me back up. A lot of the services were not represented accurately by this website. And when we dug into the website, what we found was it was actually a competitor who looks to be running this review website. So then it kind of makes sense why there's misrepresentations along the way. And, as mentioned, there are even shops in Singapore that weren't even mentioned. And the thing is, the reviews are pretty much constantly updated. If you go to the I'll show you real quick here before I get back to the program. So the thing is, these shops here, hang on, uh, Okay, so the thing is, the sorry about that. The shops here, these are not all the shops in Singapore. Okay, and the thing is, a lot of them are misrepresented, and and again, what we found out was, you know, it does definitely look to be run by a competitor in Singapore who is on this list. Okay, and the thing here is, when you look at this, you have to ask yourself, where's the bank? The bank's been here forever. It's not listed. Other shops say like Gold Hard Bullion, it's not here. Okay, and it's been around at least for, I'm going to say, 2 years. So for 2 years, this website did not bother to put another company. But if you look at reviews, let me see. If you look at the reviews, the thing is, you're going to see that the reviews are updated 19 November 2019. So you got to ask yourself, why are they updating reviews, but they still are not updating the shop's services and what they have to offer? So that was an issue there, because like I said, if you're trying to get information on, let's say, storing in Singapore, and you're seeing a website like this that's not being entirely honest with you, and then come to find out it's even run by another company, you gotta seriously wonder what's going on. Why are they doing that? Um, is that for you, or is that for them? You gotta ask that question, correct? So again, these shops have been around for a couple years at least, and they're not listed, but yet they will update the reviews. So I don't think you can have an argument where, oh, we didn't know. You do know, and why update reviews but not update the services to what they currently are? So again, who does it benefit? I think that's the question. Who does it benefit? Okay, so getting back to comments, yeah, RJ RGJG. I just wanted to go into that for you. Yeah, there was a shop, the Goose. It was a pretty big shop. It closed as well. RGJG. Anthony Phillips. Wow, surprise, surprise. Bullion Star does it all. Yeah, well, that's who runs the site. In actuality, that's what we found. When we looked at the Bullion Reviews administrator, he was also employed by Bullion Star at the same time that these things were developed, according to what we found when we looked into it. That's really the underlying story here. And so again, you got to be careful whenever you're searching reviews. And again, did what they did, does that benefit you, or does that benefit them? So you got to ask yourself that question. And I think that's all that's what it comes down to, right? Who does it benefit, you or them? That's what it comes down to. um so anyway, we're talking about these things, and let's see. So I mean, you got to ask the question though, is, when it comes to Yellen and when it comes to Jerome Powell, what's going on? These guys aren't blind. They're academics. They're smart. Bottom line is, I don't think they are gonna completely tell us everything that we need to know. And that's important because, you know um money is, I mean, I'll just say, we all need money. That's what we need to do the things we need to do. And when what they say affects your money, when what they say or even don't say affects it as well, we got to know. You have to tell us. I mean, I think it's more important to protect the country and all its people, and let them know what's going on. Protect the world and all its people, or at least, if not protect, let the people know what's going on, so that we can all decide what's best for us and what we need to do. So, with Jerome Powell, he was raising rates, and then come December of last year, I think, he made a U-turn, and started going down, and now he seems to be in the position where he's gonna take a pause. So we got to see where this is going to. Um, okay, let's see. Let's see. Polybius Kai Close. Oh, that's the name, my friend. Damn, I was going to go with you guys, but I saw the reviews and went with Bullion Star instead. That's the point. When you're not being represented well, and it's not a matter of just updating the website, because the point is you had years to update the website as far as services of these companies. And if you're a legit website that wants to give people the best information to make a review, you're going to do it if you're a legit website. So, that question is, you know, if you had years and years and years to go ahead and update company services, update new shops that have come and opened up in Singapore, why did you not do that but chose to update reviews instead? You updated reviews, but you did not update companies' services. That again, who does that benefit? Does that benefit you or me, the consumer, or does that benefit a company that's behind the review website? So again, if you ask me, my opinion, that's pretty darn deceptive, and it's not fair to you or me or anyone else, and just as you mentioned right here. So let's see. Mick, the BRICS are already trading without using the dollar, so the dollar used as the world's currency has a short time left. Mick, you know what exactly? I'm going to get into that as well. I mean, I found an article on it, and that says exactly what you're saying. Our dishonest tactic. How else can you put it? I mean, if it's dishonest from the start, you got to ask yourself, is that something that's going to continue through all the way through? So, but again, just be aware of those things. Let me get back into it. If you did create an account with us, yeah, recently a newsletter came out where we also talked about Jerome Powell. So again, be sure to go to our website and subscribe, and we do send out just simple newsletters like these. They're not coming out every day where your email is going to get flooded. So in this newsletter, this last one we sent out in a testimony before the U.S. House Budget Committee last week, or again a couple weeks ago, Jerome Powell said that he did not see signs of bubbles brewing or immediate dangers. We are the strongest country. We have the best institutions. We have the best labor force. He said we have such strengths, and I think possibly the day of reckoning could be quite far off. Um, for me, it's more about he actually even said the day of reckoning. The day of reckoning could be quite far off, quite far off. So he knows. He knows that it's out there. His optimism brought to mind words echoed by his predecessor, Ben Bernanke, who was Fed Chair 2006-2014. In the years leading to the global financial crisis 2008, in a CNBC interview in 2005, Bernanke was asked if there was a housing bubble, given the increased chatter that housing prices were in bubble territory. And of course, he replied, well, questionably, housing prices are up quite a bit. I think it's important to note that the fundamentals are also very strong. We've got a growing economy, jobs, incomes, same things we're hearing now, right? We've got very low mortgage rates. We've got demographics supporting housing growth. We've got restricted supply in some places. So it's certainly understandable that prices would go up some. I don't know whether prices are exactly where they should be, but I think it's fair to say that much of what's happened is supported by the strength of the economy. So again, here we go. We're hearing how strong the economy is, and they will say relative to other economies, but we're hearing how strong it is. And Bernanke, Yellen, Powell, all of them, they're not seeing the same things that we're seeing. So we got to again, we're on our own. We are on our own. Uh, okay, let's take a look at some of your comments again. Bobby Jones, USA will fall into a depression soon. We will then see how people react to a Venezuela type of life and rebel. Like all these countries, the media blocks the truth from coming out. Yeah, Bobby Jones, it's unfortunate. I wish, you know, growing up, we had guys who would just pretty much more or less report the news. And then somehow it switched to every channel you turn to seemed to be reporting the same news. And then it kind of turned to news became commentary, news became opinions, and now it's even reached over into what some people might even call propaganda. It's gotten it's gotten to that point. It's really gotten to that point already. Uh, let's see. Tattoo Genoa, hi from Panama. I love Singapore. How you doing, Tattoo? Hope all is well out there. American Rebel 27 repos. Yeah, repos. They are just continuing to go through the roof. Maybe I'll just take a quick look at that since we're out here. Uh, repo. This can be found on the NewYorkFed.org website. And reverse repo operations. So when we look at Friday, just this past Friday, uh, we're going to this is reverse repo. So what we want to take a look at is repo. Okay, repo. You want reverse repo. There's also reverse repo. Okay, so you want repo. That's what you're looking at. So all right, 64 billion, and they took in 16 billion of mortgage backed securities. Let's see what else. Another 60 billion and another 12 billion mortgage backed. Thursday repo 22 billion, another 6.9. So they're still at it. They're not going to end it. We were told, this is just accounting or somewhat, something like that for the end of the year, type of consolidations or whatever it was. Obviously not true. And then we were told it's going to, you know, temporary type of a deal. Then we're told it's, going to go into January, February next year. And then I think we're hearing things now where they may be trying to develop some type of permanent type of a deal here where it's just going to go on forever. Let's see. Jesse James, can you get Rory from the Daily Coin on for an interview in the future? You know what? We'll try. I like Rory. He does a fantastic job there. So we'll make note of that. We'll make note of that. Are the big news stations make the Soviet Pravda look fair and I was going to avoid saying the word Pravda, but since you mentioned it, Pravda. We're there. we we are there. Let's see. But it's not QE. No, no, no. American Rebel. It's not QE. You got that. Let's not say QE. Like how we will not say the word Pravda. Okay. Yeah, it's unfortunate. We're getting a lot of propaganda these days with what's going on. Um. Okay. So I think what I'll do is I'll dive into this clip from Ray Dalio. He had something to say at this I think it was some type of economic forum in China. Bam City, who are you voting for in 2020? If I told you guys, no matter who's the candidate, half of you guys will like me, half of you guys will hate me. So there's no win. There's no win to say who you'd vote for. Tattoo Genoa, Silver Bullion, and Safe House are number one in Singapore. You know what? I think so. When I look around at competitors and whatnot, I think we do a good job, and a lot of that is because we're pretty darn transparent. If you got questions, you ask us. We invite people into the vault. For one thing, if you're in Singapore and you're thinking about storing and you want to see the vault, let us know. We'll go ahead and get you in, and you're going to be hard pressed to find other companies that are going to allow you into their vault. You're going to be hard pressed to find that. So yeah, we definitely do try to stay transparent with these things. Let's see, poker table markets, piles of paper. Definitely poker table. And speaking of poker, you guys know I say this all the time. If you got a 401k, take some of those chips off the table. See someone about rolling over some of that 401k into a precious metals IRA, because that stock market that's been taking your 401k up, that same market that's going to take it back down. So really try and talk to, or not try, do it. talk to a company about rolling over some of that 401k into a precious metals IRA. That's just my comment. That's just my opinion, not financial advice, but go ahead and look into it because again, some of you know from my experience when 9/11 happened, my 401k really took a hit, and it's I'm not making any less of the lives that were lost. I'm just going forward to say that there are you can lose tens of thousands in your 401k if you leave it in that 401k and the markets start to tumble. So I don't want that to happen to any of you guys. So if you have that 401k, talk to somebody about rolling some of that over into a precious metals 401k. I think that's important because we're getting older. You may not have time to recover whatever you might lose. So if you're talking poker, take some of those chips off the table and let's take a look at what Ray Dalio had to say.
Four major drivers. There's productivity. In other words, over a period of time, our living standards rise because we learn how to do things better and we get more output per man hour. Then there's cycles, short-term debt cycle, recession, expansion. Economy becomes too weak, inflation is low, monetary policy creates credit, credit creates demand, and then you have a pickup, tightening of monetary policy, and then we have the recession in those cycles. So that's around this productivity. Around that is also a long-term debt cycle, which is an accumulation of these other cycles in which then there's a cycle which ends largely when you have a situation where you hit zero interest rates and then you print money and it's not as effective. So we'll talk about that in a second. And then, of course, there's politics. Those are the four things. There's internal politics, people at odds, internally and externally. So I think the period that we're in is unique. And let's say we're 10 years into, well, let's take technology. Technology is artificial intelligence and so on is replacing people, and it's great for the whole, but it changes the nature of the environment, and that's going to have a very important implication in the years ahead. As far as the short-term debt cycle or the business cycle, we're 10 years into this expansion, and many of those stimulants that happen will be dissipating. We won't have more interest rate cuts that are material. You won't have more tax cuts and so on. And this is true around the world as we have our obligations. So we're coming into this period that is sort of a big sag, not a debt crisis in that way, but a lot of obligations that are coming at us, particularly in the mature reserve currency countries. And they include pension obligations, healthcare obligations, and the like, large deficits which will have to be monetized. They'll print money to deal with that. There's a reserve currency issue. That also means that if there's stimulative if you get a downturn, you're not going to have monetary policy work the way it did before. That enters the political realm of coordination of fiscal and monetary policy. It's a new world order. As far as those are the cycle. As far as the politics, naturally, because of this particular dynamic, because of three major factors, there's a wealth gap, a widening wealth gap. And with that, an opportunity gap and a values gap. That's because monetary policy buys financial assets. That makes financial assets go up, and those who have financial assets have a lot of money, a lot of demand. There's technology that's changing that and creating wider spreads. It benefits companies, but it also displaces people, and there's globalization, those factors. And then, of course, we have the external conflict or the issues of the rising of a great power in the form of China rising and the United States having its let's say, relative decline. So we're at a point, I think, that is very similar to 1944. There's a war, after a period of war, there's a period which there's a peace because nobody wants to fight the country that has won the war, and there's a new world order. And there was a new monetary system. 1944, we established the dollar, reserve currency-based monetary system, and the like. And I think that all of that, All of those is going to really change the world order in dramatic ways in the next 10 years.
World order. I think I heard him say world order, monetary world order three times in that speech. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna go way to the edge here, but it is true. What he's saying. We are definitely going to transition it into a new type of currency, and fair enough. It's going to be a different order. So when he says a world order, I know we like to think new world order, conspiracy stuff, but guys, it's not a conspiracy, and I don't think we need to be afraid to say that word anymore. Where we are in a shift. We are definitely going to be shifting into some type of new monetary order, and I think people should not be afraid to talk about that, because we all know we are heading into crisis where it does look like the whole financial system is going to shift. So I think more and more we should not be afraid to say those words. There is going to be a new order when it comes to the monetary system, and if that does kind of scare you a bit, again, this is where you want to be holding some silver, some gold, because those are the things that are going to help get you through that transition when we transition over from our current monetary system to the new monetary system. And that's coming from Ray Dalio, a pretty level-headed guy. So again, um, no need to think of this as conspiracy stuff, because it's the truth. What he's saying, you know, we are going to be switching over. So let's. I think we all have to come to terms with that, and once we do, then we need to understand what we need to do, or what we should do. And I played this clip last week, but I want to play it one more time, because there were a few more key points that this gentleman said that were pretty interesting. It's just a short clip, so hang on.
Доллар пользовался очень большим доверием во всем мире. Это почти единственная была универсальная валюта мировая. Зачем-то Соединенные Штаты начали использовать долларовые расчеты как инструмент политической борьбы. Вводить ограничения на использование доллара. Своими руками начали пилить сук, на котором сидят. Но скоро они грохнутся. Доллары сокращаются как резервная валюта во многих государствах мира. Иран ограничивает в долларовых расчетах, на Россию вводит какие-то ограничения, на другие страны. Это подрывает доверие к доллару. Неужели это непонятно? Своими руками уничтожают доллар.
Okay, so we got Dalio talking about change, the world order in dramatic ways, and we have Putin saying they'll collapse soon. In Putin's reference, I think he's, there's only, I think there's two things that fit what he's talking about. They'll collapse soon. Is that the U.S. or is that the dollar? Uh, I'm suspecting it's one of those two things that he's talking about. And again, should people not just in the U.S. but anywhere in the world be concerned? Absolutely. I think wherever you are in the world, um, you should be concerned, because when this thing changes over, it's going to affect every currency more than one. I think it's going to affect every currency more in a negative way, except for one, and that's gold. That is gold. That is silver. And again, that's the reason why you want to be holding gold and silver. Have some gold and silver, because when these currencies really start to decline, get affected, whatever it is, gold and silver is going to be there. It's going to store the value of your currency throughout history. Whenever a new monetary system starts up, more than likely it's going to be backed by gold, and we're going to get into that shortly as well. So, what are you guys talking about right now? Let's see. Ken D not announcing not QE4, and a little MSM coverage of the JP Morgan situation doesn't change reality. It just changes the ability to hide it all for the worse. Yeah, that's a great comment, Ken. I think you hit it on the head. American Rebel 27, if led by IMF, that possibility does scare me. Well, it's I don't think you can say the IMF is just going to quietly go off into the night, or not have some role to play. I think they probably are going to be involved in it some way. And again, the for me, what's concerning about all of these guys, IMF and whatnot, did you vote for them? No. Did I vote for them? No. None of us votes for them. But yet, this is an organization that tries to dictate or implement policy all over the world. And the thing is, we didn't vote for them. You didn't vote for them. I didn't vote for them. But yet, they seem to have some type of wield some type of a power. And the thing is, if we didn't vote for them, we can't get them out. If we didn't vote for them, they're not accountable to us. And for me, that's the dangerous part about the IMF. I don't know one person that actually voted to install anyone in the IMF. And again, that leaves the question of accountability. And that part I find dangerous. Uh, Justice Texas in the U.S. No more middle class. Middle class does seem to be shrinking, and unfortunately, in fact, I shouldn't say shrinking. Let's just call it what it is. Middle class is being divided. It's being divided into haves and have-nots. And I'll tell you something. When you go to a third world country, you see the haves and you see the have-nots. And I can't imagine that type of a situation in the U.S. When you see the haves and the have-nots, it it goes beyond reality to think that, hey, this person is just as much of a human as that other person. He needs to eat just as much as that other person, drink, this that. But there's definitely a gap, a wealth gap between the two. And this is where this whole socialist type of idea starts to come into play, because when you create that wealth gap, too huge of a wealth gap, a lot of people are going to be crying out for fairness, for justice. And in some ways you can't blame them. The blame should be squarely on the politicians, even central bankers. And these are just my opinions. But that's the danger of a wealth gap. You're going to end up with haves and have nots. And when you have that, that starts to bring in socialism to some type of a degree. And for the US, it's I don't see how they are going to um, close that gap. And which is why we all need to do that individually ourselves. With doing things like picking up gold and silver, and accumulating it as best you can. So again, anyway, Candy, great comment. Polynesian Pip, aloha. U.S. is becoming isolated. It is becoming isolated. It's becoming isolated in more ways than one. And a few weeks or a few months back, we went over this in Gold We Trust report. One chapter in particular about de-dollarization. Let me get there real quick. Let's see, I believe it's on page. Hang on. I believe it's on page 118. Let's see if it's there. Okay. Yeah. So when you say U.S. is becoming isolated, it is true. It is true. But what concerns me is when I look at the gold reserves of USA, the Euro area, including the ECB, Russia, and China. This is in tons, fairly recent, just earlier this year. When you look at the US, and I know someone mentioned Fort Knox not too long ago, supposedly there's 8,000 tons, right? This is US, 8,000 tons. When you look at the Euro area, never mind Germany is in number two, or whatever country is number three, four, five. Forget about that. Because when it comes to Europe, it's going to be the Euro area, which holds more than 10,000 tons of gold. And you look at Russia, another couple thousand tons. You look at China, almost another couple thousand tons. But I think we all know that this number from China is probably a heck of a lot more than what they're letting you know. And don't forget about the BRICS nations. So we have two of them here, Russia, China, but we also have Brazil, India, and South Africa. Combined, they have summers around another 1,000 tons. So my point being, if you add up the rest of the BRICS countries, Russia, China, Europe, they have double the amount of gold than the US. And we all know he who holds the gold is the one who makes the rules. So, yes, the US is becoming isolated, and a lot of countries are de dollarizing from the US. With Europe, as is mentioned here, they have what's called Instex, which is pretty much the rival to the US SWIFT system. So, it does look that the way they're going to be doing it, or one of the ways, is going to be through gold. And this gentleman from the Bank of Netherlands, he states that shares, bonds, and other securities are not without risk, and prices can go down, but a bar of gold retains its value even in times of crisis. That is why central banks, including the DNB, have traditionally held considerable amounts of gold. And in fact, we do know the banks are buying up gold hand over fist right now. Gold is the perfect piggy bank. It's the anchor of trust for the financial system. If the system collapses, the gold stock can serve as a basis to build it up again. So here we talk about, if we need to build up something, gold can serve as a basis to build it up. So I'm going to say this includes money. This includes a new monetary system. Gold bolsters confidence in the stability of the central bank's balance sheet and creates a sense of security. So this is why I think when that new currency or monetary system comes in, I think it is going to be gold backed, partially gold backed. And this is why I think to get through that transition from now to then, you should be having some of that gold. You should be having some of that silver, because this again surely looks to be the way things are going. Take a look at some of your comments again. A Let's see. Sorry, let me go through this. U.S. has Rumpelstiltskin. USA has 8,000 tons. Laughable, no way. That's all been sold long ago. The last full audit of Fort Knox was in the 1950s. Rumpelstiltskin, you have a very, very good point. Excuse me. Supposedly there is 8,000 plus tons, but we all know that gold has been flowing from west to east. And the numbers also show that uh, the mining supply somehow is not equivalent, or it's not keeping up with the amount of gold that's being moved. So whether it's being rehypothecated, or really sent from west to east, it's a good probability. It's a good probability when you look at the numbers. So again, we're gonna unfortunately have to see how this plays out. And again, this is why you need to be hanging on, or holding, or at least having some gold and silver. And whether in your jurisdiction or in a different jurisdiction, because my feeling on this is, you know let's just say if I'm back in the US and I expect things in the US to get worse, I would be looking at having a different place to be holding or storing some of that gold and silver, so it's going to be there for me later on. And I will say, before I came to Singapore, I probably would not think that way. I would think, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. I would think, I want it all with me. But knowing Singapore now, and knowing the laws, the jurisdictions, and whatnot, i'm I would be comfortable with having 6 months wages of gold and silver with me in the states, and having the rest, or a portion of it outside of the states, because some places they're going to be stable, some places will still be stable, no uprisings, things like that. Other places probably going to have some uprisings and whatnot. So again, that's just my opinion. And I know, some people will say, no, no, I want it all with me. And I agree to a point, because I that's how I felt as well. But the difference is I have a different viewpoint now, because I'm actually in a place like I'm actually in Singapore, so I understand a place like Singapore and the actual advantages it has. And So that makes me comfortable. And I mean, at least look into it. Give us a call, send us an email. We can talk about it. Um, you know, but you got to do what's best for you, right? That's always the main thing. We're all in this boat together. Do what's best for you. Be a blessing, not a burden. It comes down to those few things. So let's see. Uh, hey Patrick, is 14,000, I guess, ounces of silver enough? If you have 14,000 ounces of silver, you're doing very very well there, Anthony. Extremely well. Elbow Sanchez, how you doing, buddy? Uh, let's see. China buys everything with fiat dollars everywhere. Cam Pod, you know what? That day may be coming to a change. It's going to be changing. Now, I played this clip before where it was Jim Rickards. He was in an interview with Robert Kiyosaki, and it's about 4 minutes. But what he had to say, very, very interesting. Some of you seen it, some of you didn't, but I want to go through it because it's going to lead into a few other things that I want to talk about before we head out. So something that we can think about. Um, so again, hang in there with this one. It's about 4 minutes or so.
There are only three countries that really matter: Russia, China, and the United States. And everyone goes, Russia, they're like the 12th largest economy, and it's a one-trick pony with commodities, and Putin's a thug, and the population's declining. So why do we care about Russia? They are the largest physical country in the world. They, along with Saudi Arabia and the U.S., they're one of the three largest energy producers in the world. They have the largest nuclear arsenal in the world, larger than the United States. They're a geopolitical giant. I don't care how much you want to disparage Putin, the good guy, bad guy. He's obviously, he knows how to play rough. But my point is, you can't pursue foreign policy without taking Russia into account.
And aren't Russia and China doing more and more deals together?
Well, that's the point, Kim. That's exactly right. So, three-handed poker game: Russia, China, the United States. The way poker works, if you play the game, two people will gang up on the other, clean them out, and then they'll fight with each other for the rest of the pot. But if you don't know who the sucker is, you're the sucker. And you're going back to Kissinger, even before Kissinger, and through, I'll say even Bill Clinton and the Bushes, we always were closer to one side than the other to isolate the odd man out. So in the beginning of 1972, we opened up to China. We wanted to be buddies with China as a way of derailing the Soviet Union. But after 1991, we kind of cozied up to the Soviet Union to derail China. That's not always the same partner. You might have to switch sides. That's politics. But the United States was very good under Kissinger and Baker and others of aligning with one of those powers to diminish the ability of the third. But starting with Obama, we have no friends. We've completely, Democrats don't want to talk about Russian collusion, all this stuff. Well, fine. If you don't want to talk to Russia, fine. But now we're in a huge financial war with China because they're trying to undermine us. So we're not friends with China. We're not friends with Russia, but they're friends with each other, which was your point, Kim. And what they're doing, I talk about this in the book. All your Bitcoin people, Bitcoin. I say, forget Bitcoin. But don't forget cryptocurrencies. Russia and China are working on the technology for cryptocurrency. It's what's called a permissioned system, which means that not everybody can get in. It's like a club. They have to let you in. It'll be a new coin. It won't be Bitcoin. Call it a Putin coin or a Xi coin or whatever, backed up by gold. Russia has almost quadrupled its gold reserves since 2009. It's gone from 600 tons to today around 2,100 tons, on its way to higher amount. China, same thing. China's less transparent. We have to do some estimating, but they're in the same place. Why are they buying all this gold? Are they stupid? Or do they see something coming that we don't? Well, I have friends in Russia and China. They're not stupid. They see something coming that most people don't. And so you start this cryptocurrency. So now, to your point, Kim, China sells critical infrastructure to Russia. Russia sells weapons to China. Iran sells oil to China. North Korea sells missiles to Iran. Everybody goes to Turkey for vacation because it's a nice country. But the point is, you have this trading network with all these reciprocal buys and sells. Instead of denominating it in dollars, which has been the case, you denominate it in this new cryptocurrency. It's just a way to keep score. It could be baseball cards, but you just keep score. And then periodically you settle up. So I ran a deficit with you, I owe you money, or you have a deficit with Kim and you owe Kim money or whatever. But the point is, the net payment is always much smaller than the gross payment. If you had to pay for every shipment real time, that's gross. But if we just keep score in this cryptocurrency and net it down, that's a much smaller payment. And we settle up in gold, not the crypto. Crypto is a way to keep score. You don't have to move the gold around. You could, but you can station it in Switzerland and just change the name tags or whatever, which is what has been done in the past. But what's missing from that economic system? Dollars. There's no dollars in the whole thing. It's cryptocurrencies, gold, netting, and a permission private system.
All right, Jim Rickards, no dollars, crypto. I know, I forgot who it was, but one of you guys mentioned last week that China was coming out with their crypto, and that's kind of what wanted me to, it pushed me to want to take a look at this. And, it goes back to when you look at, the gold that China's accumulated, Russia's accumulated, the European area has accumulated. And when you look at how Rickards is saying some type of gold back crypto, and then you look at how he's saying it may be like a private type of a coin. And again, going back to how they're de-dollarizing, the world's in for a change. The world is in for a change, and it's no wonder, Ray Dalio would say something, along the lines of a new type of a monetary new order type of a thing. And, it I tell you, it can seem a bit nerve-wracking to think about that. But all things change. Everything changes. We know global debt is astronomical, and it's going to change. It's going to change. It's going to have to change, and more than likely, the way they're going to do it is bring in some type of a gold-backed deal, gold-backed crypto, like what James Rickards is saying. And I'll take you to this clip, which kind of explains some things, and for some people it's going to make you happy. For other people it's going to get you a bit concerned, but again, we're all in this together.
We're watching Bitcoin because the cryptocurrency is slumping to a 6-month low today on the heels of a new warning from China's central bank. The People's Bank of China's Shanghai headquarters says it will tackle the growing illegality involving cryptocurrency. Let's not forget that Bitcoin surged earlier this month after Xi Jinping's bullish comments on blockchain technology, and it comes as the PBOC is gearing up to launch its own digital currency. So, Emily, a lot of different pieces here. We've seen comments from China drive a lot of the gains in Bitcoin and crypto in general, but not the case today.
Well, what the PBOC is really doing now is they're drawing that line in the sand between the underlying blockchain technology and then the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. So they're saying that they, and China is actually trying to develop its own blockchain-based fintech system. And they're saying now that they're not going to be bringing Bitcoin, some of these other cryptocurrencies along. They're really kind of condemning those and the volatility around them. So they are bullish on these underlying technologies and sort of the mechanism of transaction for blockchain, but they're really detracting from some of the existing cryptocurrencies, and that's why we're seeing Bitcoin falling through its 100-day, 50-day, 200-day moving averages.
It's been a pretty stark and quick shift here when we're talking about the cryptocurrency space. It kind of kicked off when Libra was trying to get through, and we saw kind of how that was affecting the crypto market overall there. That project's pretty much stalled when we think about how high-flying their goals were. It's kind of basically held the gains in check, and now we're seeing the steam come out of it today too. But Jeff, you don't really like playing in the crypto space.
No, not at all. Just give me, U.S. dollars and I'm happy. All these people trying to come up with alternative currencies. What's really behind it? That's number one. Number two, how mainstream is it going to be? We could have our own currency sitting here today. If the three of us use it, that's great. Nobody else is going to accept it. So it's really a challenge to get acceptance out there in the masses and have this become a mainstream type of currency that people could exchange to buy things like cars and houses and food at the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the interesting shift when we talk about Libra too. Is it a store of value, or is it going to be used as a currency, as an actual transactional currency? And we've seen Bitcoin and the crypto market kind of go back and forth. I guess it's just kind of whatever is most convenient at the time, whichever argument is most convenient to make. Whether you want it to be digital gold, whether it was supposed to be a hedge against the market volatility, which we had seen kind of start to happen. But now I think that's kind of more on the back burner when we think about where the bullishness is in crypto.
It's a good question. And, I was actually speaking with someone at eToro earlier today, a market analyst, and he was saying another thing that's been an issue is it's becoming increasingly more expensive for these miners to actually add another block to that ledger for crypto, or for Bitcoin in particular. So a lot of times we have been seeing this sell-off because they're trying to find liquidity by selling off some of their positions in order to cover some of that overhead. So that's another sort of technical issue with Bitcoin and with some of these cryptocurrencies as a whole.
I always like stepping back and just, putting it into context. When we look at a year chart, 78% the gain in Bitcoin overall. So all of these moves, just because it does move so quickly, either the upside or the downside, can shock some people. But when you step back, it's a pretty good return, 78% for a year.
No, it's become a financial instrument or a financial bet.
Yeah.
After I leave here today and I go to the supermarket, I can't use these cryptocurrencies to buy our groceries. So, until that happens, I don't see, much mainstream support for it.
All right, very good. Well, we'll see what happens as, we're already in November, so there's only so many months to turn things around now, so many days as we approach the end of the year.
Okay. So that's some pretty interesting things with what they had to say about China and Bitcoin. And in this article from Bloomberg, one day, guys, I am going to have to buy a subscription to Bloomberg because it keeps cutting me off. But we'll get the gist of it with what we're going to at least be able to see here. China's plan to sideline Bitcoin. Beijing has accumulated dozens of blockchain patents. Crypto fans won't like what comes next. When Satoshi Nakamoto introduced Bitcoin to the world in 2008, he or she or they, the mystery endures, pitched it as a way to end the power of central authorities in finance. 10 years on, the Chinese government is adapting the ideas behind Bitcoin to do the exact opposite. Hang on, let me just get this here. Okay, it won't. Anyway, the People's Bank of China, the country's central bank, plans to introduce a digital currency of its own. And I got this from one of you guys last week when you asked if I had heard anything about this. So, hey, we do listen to you folks, right? But unlike the decentralized blockchain-based offerings, this one could give Beijing more control over its financial system. It would enhance the PBOC's ability to root out risks and crack down on money laundering. It could also give the government an unprecedented window into individuals' private lives. Okay, that's where we're headed. It seems that's where we're headed. But you guys had some great comments over there, so I want to see if I can take a peek into it. Let's see. I wonder how many residents of Northern California think of cryptos when the power situation. You know, I think the idea, the spirit behind Bitcoin and cryptos, I think it's there. You know, that independence, getting away from central banks and whatnot. I think it's there. You know, but I think, you know, it, for some people they're fine. For other people, they just wanted to have a little bit more oomph behind it. You know, have something. What some people would say real, but then other people would say, well, there is reality behind it. You know, so it can go both ways. And I pretty much hold the viewpoint of, I do see how Bitcoin and gold, or crypto and gold for that matter, can definitely work together. I do see how it can be used to work together. You don't need to be on one side or the other, but I do know a lot of us are. And fair enough. You know, a lot of us, you know, crypto guys may not see the value in backing crypto. That opens the door to confiscation of sorts, and gold guys, they don't see the value of crypto because there's nothing behind it. So, you know, I think all arguments pretty much are valid. And it just comes down to really what you personally feel. Okay, so RR, when things start to fall apart and power supplies get interrupted, how are you gonna access your Bitcoin? I don't think you. Well, that's one of the arguments. One of the arguments, and I think in time, technology probably will figure out a way to appease that. Um, okay, so let me see what else is here. Let's see. When it gets to a nickel, okay. Um, so anyway, what I want to do is somebody mentioned this, and I want to put it up before I forget about the BRICS nations, and this you were spot on, my friend. There was an article came out earlier in the year, May 15th, 2019. BRICS nations, and BRICS have been kind of quiet lately. They were in the news all over the place a few years back, but they've gotten kind of quiet. But BRICS nations creating BRICS Pay as cloud platform accessible via smartphone to avoid US dollar trade. So there we go, de-dollarization again, right? The BRICS grouping of countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are creating a single payment system, BRICS Pay, as part of the drive to establish a common system for retail payments and transactions between their member countries. These nations, all among the world's leading and most powerful emerging markets, plan to introduce a special cloud platform which will connect their national payment systems. An online wallet will be developed with access to these payment systems, which will also include mobile apps similar to Apple Pay, which can be installed on smartphones for purchases in any of the five BRICS countries, regardless of which currency the payment and the money in the account of the buyer are denominated in. This means that the nations of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa will be able to use their own national currencies as a direct basis of exchange for external payments. This is being seen as a major step on the path to de dollarization and a decoupling from the current US controlled global banking system. China and Russia, in particular, have been highly critical of the U.S. state's de facto use of global payment systems, which have been used as trade and sanctions weapons to either inhibit or punish nations whose policies do not fit with those of Washington. Both have been actively seeking for some time now to de dollarize their trade, and the BRICS pay system is a major step in that direction. The BRICS nations have also been examining the possibility of developing a BRICS cryptocurrency. Again, that's where we're headed. That is where we are headed to, without a doubt. Let's see. Cam Pod, I own Bitcoin, another crypto, and silver and gold, and it all is good. Cam Pod, I am with you, my friend. I for me, my belief is cash, gold, silver, Bitcoin because it is the reserve cryptocurrency, and I'm still searching for some type of gold-backed crypto. That's the other one I'm searching for. I have personal criteria that I'm looking for it to meet. Um, some guys are close. Some guys are very, very close, and I'll get into that also really, really shortly. Let's see. Lord Humongous, good man. RR, exactly. The spirit is in the right place, but in a world of fake asset values and totalitarian rule growing, give me something I can hold in my hands. Yeah, I agree there. Or something provable, I mean, I think we're getting to a point where assets are going to be put up on the blockchain, and your wealth is going to be tied into your assets on the blockchain. I mean, it kind of looks like it's heading in that direction as well. Polynesian Pip, check out Bitfee Wallet. Uh, okay, Rumpelstiltskin, I got 3 times second generation night scopes. Okay, night scopes. Okay, let's see. This is the firing shot against the dollar's global reserve dominance. Yeah, it's the dollar is being hit on all sides. Whether it's de-dollarization, such as what we just read here, whether it's through creating new types of payment systems outside of the SWIFT systems, which would be Instex, INSTEX, which is what Europe has built. It just goes to say that all of these countries, they're not doing it for nothing. They're doing it for a reason, and that reason is to get away from the dollar, and that means we're going to shift over into something. We are going to shift over into something else. So, when these currencies decline, like I say, as this transition is happening, it is a very good idea to be holding some of your wealth in silver and gold, uh, because when those currencies, like I say, you don't know what's going to happen with them, but that gold and silver is going to store the value of your wealth. So you again take the time to understand that gold and silver is more about what the price is. It's more about an investment. It definitely goes into the realm of a hedge, an insurance, and you've heard me say this before. If you have auto insurance, health insurance, life insurance, fire insurance, you know, whatever it may be, what do you have for money insurance? And when you tell people money insurance, you know, you literally see them do one of those types of a deal. Like, what is this guy talking about? But it's true. Money insurance. Do you have money insurance? And that's where the gold and silver comes into play. So, don't forget that. If you're already paying for auto insurance and all these other things, take the time to get some money insurance, and just know that there is more to gold and silver than just the price, more than just the spot price. And you hear it, people all the time. What's the gold price today? What's the silver price today? And you know, all you can do is hope they understand that it's more than just the price. So, like I said, I am looking for some type of a gold backed crypto, which is why I was happy to have on Andreas Roof, CEO of Infinigold, and they developed a product that works with Perth Mint, where they have some type of a gold backed token, some type of a gold backed deal. So I was happy to have him on, where he explained a little bit about it, and I'll just play some of what Andreas had to say.
Yeah. So Gold Pass in the end is nothing but a very easy and convenient way that you can purchase Persimmon Gold at the touch of a screen. It's basically an app that you download from the App Store and then sign up as a Persimmon customer. You're then taken through the obligational standard ID verification process as part of the KYC, and you pre-fund your Gold Pass account with a bank transfer into a dedicated bank account. So that usually takes a few hours, depending on your bank connection, maybe a day, and your funds will then show up in your Gold Pass app as a digital currency. Currently, we're supporting Australian dollars, US dollars soon to come. And with those funds, you can then purchase in-app gold against or from the Perth Mint in a 24/7 market. So you enter how much gold you want, you get a price quote, you confirm, and when you proceed with that transaction, your Australian dollar amount will go down, and in return, you will receive a digital certificate that represents the physical gold that is stored at the Perth Mint. These Gold Pass certificates, as we call them, can then be held. They can be transferred to other Gold Pass users. Of course, you can sell them back to the Perth Mint, or you can redeem them for physical bullion out of the standard sort of product range from the Perth Mint. You simply select your bar that you would like, any sizes from 1 ounce up, and either pick it up in Perth in the Perth Mint shop, or you get it delivered globally.
Okay, so curious, what do you folks think of this product, the Perth Mint Gold Token? I tell you what, I mean, there are some things I like about it. There are some things that are still questionable for me about it. What I do like about it is, you know, as I've been saying all live stream long, it looks to be some type of a gold backed crypto that the world may be heading to. And so if you have gold backed crypto, regardless of whatever happens with currencies or other types of crypto, if you have a gold backed crypto that you can prove, that's the key. It needs to be proven that it's on the blockchain, that it's actually there, and that it's tied into you some way somehow. If you can prove that you do own certain amount of gold or whatever it is, then I think, let's say that currency does come about, that new currency, go back, cryptocurrency, whatever it is, your gold will be able to match them, in the sense that if they're backing it by gold, you already have gold backing as well. And then, it may not be that particular token or whatever it may be, the price of it anymore, because it's tied into to gold. And so, you kind of have a little bit of a safety there, if you have that gold backed crypto. So that product from Perth Mint, for me, it looks pretty good. It looks promising. I'll give them that. That's what I like about it. The thing that concerns me is, if I understand this right, it seems like when you put money into this account, uh, is it being used as, for operations with the Perth Mint? I don't know. It kind of seems to me like, I mean, that's one part of it, but more than anything, you know, I see it as future gold. What you own is future gold. I mean, you're buying these certificates and whatnot, these tokens and whatnot, and you have a claim. You have a claim to gold, but is your gold there today, right here and now, today, or is it some type of gold that's in production, going to be produced later on, or going to be in inventory later on? I would much prefer to have something definitely allocated in my name, let's say, or that can be proven. um, I don't like I don't like it if it's a future production type of a deal. I like it if it's there today. So maybe I misunderstood what the program is. I'm open to that, but I prefer something that's here and now, ready to go here today, not later on there'll be some funding. And it's just that also the other part with Australia is whenever you buy bullion, I think if it's more than 5,000 Aussie dollars, there's some type of reporting going on, and that it'll concern a lot of people. And but overall, I think it's, if I had to give it a star rating out of 10 stars, I'd probably give it 7 or 8. It pretty much fits most of the things I'm looking for. I think having the Perth Mint there as well, it's a good thing. So let's see what happens with this Perth Mint Gold token. Okay, your comments. Let's see. You guys have been pretty active today. I appreciate that. I wish I could keep up more with what you guys are saying. Let's see. The big difference is central or decentralized. That is true, but hash beats cash. Hash beats. Hey man, it's somewhat true, but I think my question is, let's say these central banks do create their own crypto, gold backed crypto, and what happens with the other cryptos? And nowhere, I'm not trying to bash any cryptos or anything like that. It's a legitimate question. What happens then with all these other cryptos? Yeah, so I don't think anyone really has a good answer, or at least I've never heard a good answer. If the world or whoever comes out with a gold backed crypto, and that's the currency that's going to be adopted and used, yeah, what happens with other cryptos, or especially cryptos that don't have that gold backing to match that new currency? So that it's a legitimate concern. It's not a knock on any type of crypto. It's a legitimate concern that I think we need to look at and figure out. So it's a legitimate concern. That's all. So be interested to see your answers. Um, let's see. only Elbow Sanchez, huh? I'm not gonna read that, but okay. I see what you're saying. Anthony Phillips, Fool's Gold. You know it can't deny it. I mean it's it's a tough call. I mean I'm trying to think it through as I talk with you guys about it, and like I said, I have to be honest, and if I look at things, it does seem to be going to some type of a go back crypto, and then the difference becomes you know what happens to other cryptos if there is a government crypto. What happens to other cryptos if it's not gold backed? So this is where I see a gold backed crypto as somewhere in between. If it is a gold backed crypto that comes out, you're okay because you have gold backing to help you with that. So I think some type of gold backed crypto is where we need to be. I think is where we need to be. We got to be looking at it. And but the thing is that crypto, it does need to have some type of proof on the blockchain that you do have that gold, or there is gold backing it, which in some ways, you know, I I, I kind of don't like the word gold back. I prefer the word gold front. There is gold fronting the crypto, not technology that's made and then there was gold plugged into it. I'm looking at something that is more gold comes first, and then the technology supports the gold, whether it's to transfer it or whatever it is. I want that gold to be in the front, not in the back. The focus needs to be on the gold, and the technology needs to be there to support it and surround it. That's really what I'm looking for. Uh, let's see. Barcy, Patrick, would you consider at some point to invite your subscribers to discuss financial news with you? It seems there are people in chat sections who, yeah, yeah. I mean, I tell you what, maybe I'll figure out some way for you guys to maybe email me or something, and then we can discuss it, and then see how we can work it out through I guess Skype or something, because I know I'm gonna have to tweak some things here and there. But if you are interested, maybe in the comment section, uh, let me know, and then we'll go ahead and see what we can do, because like I said, I'm seeing a ton of comments, and I wish I could go through them, and I think some of these comments are great, and it's not just about me, it's about all of us. So I have no problem, you know um, I have no problem, bringing on different opinions to things. So thanks for bringing that up. Let's see. Truth teller, what part of Singapore do you live in? Uh, Singapore. It's a small place. Um, it's an area called Tiong Bahru. I think it was voted some type of top 10 or whatever for a hipster place. If you can imagine me living in a hipster type of a community, right? I mean, I'm not I'm not a hipster. For me, I mean, I'll just be honest. I look at these guys and they bring out maybe a toy, or they call it vintage, and they're amazed with what it can do, and I look at it and I'm like, hey man, I was playing with these things when I was 10 years old, and so I get a kick out of it, the hipsters, but they got their own thing going on, so it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. You just kind of silently smile and then get a kick out of it. uh let's see, Candy, exactly, go with gold here, let the technology or currency work itself out. Yeah, to try and get ahead of that decision is a lottery, right? Yeah, that, I mean, it kind of goes back to before, some of you guys asked if I was in crypto, Bitcoin, whatnot, and I said yes, and I was into it. But as more and more altcoins started coming out, ICOs, all of these things, you know I told myself, hey, look, Patrick, you are not smart enough to figure out which of these cryptos is going to come out on top. But I do believe that the crypto that comes out on top is going to be a crypto that's probably going to be gold backed. And so I got out of the crypto space. And what I decided was to go back into silver, go back into gold. I mean, I was never out of it, but I decided just to reallocate the monies that I would have used for crypto into gold and silver. And again, my reason was because I don't know which crypto is going to come out on top. So I will choose to buy the backing, because if the backing's there, then you're okay. That's my opinion. If the backing's there, you're okay. Let everyone else try and figure out which crypto is going to be number one. You guys can speculate. You will make money, but for me, it's more about the insurance aspect of gold and silver, because I do see, yes, something's up. We're going to switch over. So I would much prefer to have the gold backing than be involved in the speculation part right now. Let's see. Uh, oh, where are you guys at? WBSD Bullion should do metals backed cryptocurrencies. We know they have the metals. Yeah, I think if a bullion dealer actually were the one to come out with the that type of a deal, I think that's where it should be, because they know gold. The dealers know gold. They probably know vaulting and whatnot. So I think that's where you want the expertise to be. And the technology part, ton of guys can figure that out for you. Let's see. Norman Leo, it's good to pick up silver at spot and hold because you know what's coming. It's good to pick up silver whenever you can. I mean, if you feel comfortable with the price, go for it. Just go ahead and go for it. Rumpelstiltskin, I was in Singapore this year. You were? You should have stopped by the shop. It's very clean, beautiful. The new shopping center, the Ion in Orchard is yeah. You can get lost in that place. It's that it's a big mall. Let's see. What Mike? What would the value of gold be based off of in gold-backed crypto? Well, if it's gold-backed, there is going to be a tie to gold, and some people will call this type of a deal a stable coin, meaning, let's say you're in crypto, let's say you're in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin really fluctuates up and down, or let's just say it's falling. You'll go and trade and go into a stable coin, or a coin that, let's say, is gold backed or something. In this case, Tether, which is supposedly US dollar backed. And what happens is you can get out of those stormy seas. You go into a stable coin, and that will give you stability. It's not going to be as volatile. So if crypto is going down, you may want to find stability, stay there for a while, and then crypto goes back up. Then you may want to trade out of that stable coin or gold back coin and go back into the other cryptos, like, let's say, Bitcoin, if it starts to go back up, or whatever it is. So it, in a lot of guys will look at these gold back cryptos as some type of a stable coin where they can find some type of a safe harbor when cryptos get a bit volatile. And why these gold back cryptos seem to be getting popular is because right now the the biggest stable coin out there, I believe, seems to be Tether, and there's some questions as whether or not Tether is I believe it's supposed to be one to one tied into the US dollar, but there's a lot of questions as to, really, if Tether is backed as well as they say it is. So these, some go back, cryptos come into play, and they try to give you stability with having that gold backing. So I hope I'm explaining this right. Our gold backing is key. Yeah, I like I say, for me, Bitcoin, because it's the reserve crypto, and then definitely gold backing, cash, gold, silver, Bitcoin, gold back crypto. That's what I'm looking at. Um, let's see. Yeah, you guys are active. I wish I could keep up with it, but yeah, if you are in Singapore, hey, stop by the shop. You're going to see that we do have a retail shop. Uh, not like what it says on Bullion Reviews, where we don't have a retail shop, but you're going to see that there is one. You'll meet the guys, and if you are thinking about storing, let us know. We'll get you into the vault. We want to be as transparent as possible. It's about you guys. You guys need to be comfortable with the areas that you're going to go into. You need to be comfortable in your decision making. and things need to be clear, crystal clear, and transparent. And that's something, we I think we really do stress, and we want you guys. We actually don't mind. We want you guys to come and see the ball, see how we process things, see how we do things, see how we separate things. Um, it's important for you to know those things. Let's see. Jesse James, correct. The problem with an ETF is the settlements are only in dollars. Yeah, I think if you read the fine print, if I think there's an option there whether they're going to give you that actual physical gold, silver, or currency, fiat. So a lot of it is not the delivery is not taken. Let's just put it that way. They will settle. They will settle for cash, not delivery. Um, let's see. Gold backed crypto is what a word, tautology. I'm gonna have to look that up there, Rumpelstiltskin. Why not just have gold money? We did. That's exactly the point. We had that. We got away from it, and I think we're gonna need to go back to it. But they're gonna use technology and more than likely put it all up on the blockchain so you know it's there. Okay. So again, great comment, guys. You guys are really on it today. Uh, Stan Skeleton, Randy, Rush Hour. Good luck with stacking, everyone. Um, yeah, they just keep stacking. Silver and gold is so liquid where if you need to go back into cash, you can easily sell it, go back into cash, go back into fiat, or you know, it's it's there aren't many insurances out there that you can get your money back. So definitely you want to go into it. I Again, that's my opinion, not financial advice. It's just my opinion, my comment on this. Jesse James, what is the dominant currency in Singapore? Singapore dollars. Singapore dollars. It's weighted against a basket of different currencies, if I'm not mistaken, and I think they keep that a tightly held secret as to which currencies that it's weighed against. So but it's relatively stable. The nation is absolutely stable. Government is absolutely stable, and it's a small country, but every young man when he hits 18, he has to go into national service. It's compulsory. You have to go. So even though it's a small country, it does have a fairly large military when you consider, like I say, every young man has to go in at 18. And so the military is there in the region. I think hands down it's the most advanced military. They even create weapons. That's how advanced Singapore is. So don't let that size fool you. It's got a big bite. Definitely has a huge bite. Don't let that size fool you. Let's see. Perth Mint have a system, but the fees are huge. Yeah, fees not too familiar with, but I do think when you do convert those certificates into physical gold, there is what they call a fabrication fee. So, although there's a no storage fee, and there is a fabrication fee, and I found that interesting, no storage fee, and my logic kind of tells me, and I could be wrong. It's my logic, so it could be wrong, but kind of tells me if there's no storage fee, then does that mean because there's no gold in storage? Because the gold is being used as production or inventory. So you can't legitimately charge someone a storage fee if their gold is not being stored. So that's kind of how logically I broke it down. But still, I do appreciate the product that Andreas spoke about. I do think that's where we gotta go. The things we gotta be looking at is that some type of gold backed crypto, and I think Perth Mint, uh, like I say, they're close. For what I'm looking at, they're very very close, and wish them the best in that. So let's just keep an eye on it. Uh, let's see. Elbow Sanchez, Singapore has a great music scene. You know what? Yeah, yeah. The jazz. I like the jazz festivals that they have. Um, even what's that group now? Incognito. Yeah, I like those guys. They're pretty cool too. It's a good group. Let's see. You could trade a $20 bill for a double eagle once upon a time. Joel Johnson. Yeah, you could. Um, let's see. Okay, so there you go. Paul Nagel, best bullion dealer in Canada is the help I need. Point me to a reputable dealer. Oh, Canada. We don't, or I personally don't know much dealers in Canada. All I can say is search. I mean, of course, you've searched. Maybe look for legitimate reviews and see what people are saying. Be careful of reviews, though. Try and find legitimate review websites. Um, See what people say, but call. You need to call and talk to them. I think a lot of us don't pick up the phone and talk to people anymore, but you have to. You got to talk to them. Um, Go to their shop. I think having a physical shop is a plus. You know that the items are actually there. Um, but I don't know any. I wish I could give you an answer. I don't know any shop in Canada. Um, it's okay. Rumpelstiltskin, they fingerprint you now when entering Singapore. They took the whole family's fingerprints except for, well, they've gone one up. I've retina scans. There's even retina scans now. So fingerprints, retina scans. It's in the name of safety, right? I suppose. But again, that's just the world we live in. You know what? What can we do? What can we do? But make sure you're getting yourself some gold and silver. And it's getting a bit late. I know you guys are looking forward to work tomorrow, right? If you're in the, the States or Europe, you're probably going to be getting up soon. If you're in Singapore or Asia, you got to get back to work too, my friends, as I do as well. So we'll be wrapping this up. And I do appreciate the comments. You guys were very active today. A lot of good points. Um, if financial guy out there, you have things to say or whatnot, send us go ahead and write a comment. You can even reach us at sales@silverbullion.com.sg. You can communicate through us that way as well. And we pretty much do reply and respond to just about every email we get. So you can always communicate with us somehow, some way. So that's gonna be it for today's live stream. Keep an eye on Goldback Cryptos. Try and find one that fits your own personal needs. I mean, just write it down. What are your own personal needs? What do you want it to do for you? And then try and search for the cryptos that actually do that. And it all of these things. It's nothing to. It shouldn't you know it shouldn't freeze you. What's going on in the world should not keep you frozen. Keep going forward with your life. You know, have some gold, have some silver, find the things that give you a little bit of insurance, that give you the comfort, and just keep going forward with your life. Like-minded people are great to be around, but it's also good to hear people that think differently. Always be open-minded, and like I say, get that gold, silver, be a blessing, not a burden. You want to be able to help people. You don't want to be that person that needs help when these times come. We are going to go through that transition, and that's the key point. And it's not all bad. There's going to be opportunities in that transition where we can all position ourselves to come out better than we went into it. So have faith. We'll all be okay. We're all in the same boat together, and support each other as best we can. And as always, saddle up for what's coming ahead and silver up as well. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.